What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counter Punch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Bob Arum. Bob Arum is adamant about what he said about Terence Crawford. He said that Terence Crawford, he's tired of course you guys don't know, Bob Arum has went left on Terence Crawford. He said in public that he's tired of wasting money, his net profits, on Terence Crawford, and he refuses to go broke behind Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford did address that he didn't appreciate that. Bob should have kept that in private. Bob should have not said that in public. And if he feels that way, of course, he can release me from my contract right now. So Bob, he says, well, you know what? I really mean what I said. Fuck it. I'm tired of being the one that's blamed for these big fights not happening. He's saying Terence Crawford doesn't want these big fights. He said the only reason that the Kell Brook fight wasn't promoted like Terence Crawford blasted Bob Arum for is because he didn't sign the contract in time. He said if he'd have got the contract over in time and he didn't sit on it for 2 weeks, he would have promoted the fight. Okay? And Bob Arum also said he didn't appreciate how Team Crawford came to him and made it public that he expects to be a free agent by the end of 2021. However, he said that because Team Crawford claimed that Bob Arum did not want to make the good fights and was not making the big fights, should I say, for Terence Crawford. Okay? So Bob Arum responded and said, well, Terence Crawford didn't want to fight Sean Porter. He didn't want the fight with Keith Thurman, and he didn't want the fight with Dennis Ugas, which is the WBA regular champion right now. He didn't want that. So everything said and done, okay, this is my counterpunch. I understand Bob. Bob's been in the game a long time. I understand Terence Crawford. And this is what I say to that. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Okay? It doesn't make a right. It was not right for Bob Arum to come out and say what he said in the public eye like he did, making the best pound-for-pound fighter look like he was a charity case. You know what I'm saying? It was wrong. It was wrong on a lot of levels. And I don't have time to debate who did what first. What I'm saying is, if Bob Arum did that first, Bob Arum should be ashamed of himself, and he would be a hypocrite. If he did it last, the same rule apply like I just said. It doesn't matter. If you didn't like that, Terence Crawford going out in public saying he wants to be a free agent, then you shouldn't have done what you did. And in fact, I think that happened first. But you shouldn't be petty about that. And in fact, if he didn't want to fight Keith Thurman, which is not a champion, Sean Porter, which is not a champion, Dennis Ugas, who just became a WBA regular champion, if he didn't want to fight those guys, he has a reason why. Why? Because Terence Crawford wanted the big fights. And here's the thing. Team Crawford has a case against Top Rank because they haven't been able to deliver Errol Spence. And the Manny Pacquiao fight was messed up due to coronavirus. Okay, so you really can't blame Bob for that. But the Errol Spence fight should have been made. But I think it was Team Spence that didn't want it. However, Terence Crawford, I think, feels he doesn't need Errol Spence based on the things he's already done. True. Okay, he's already been through 2 weight classes. He cleaned out 1, became undisputed in 1, became Ring Magazine in 2. Okay, so no, he really doesn't need Errol Spence. But do I want him to fight Errol Spence? Yes, while he's at the weight class, because why would you waste all that talent? Okay, why would you waste all that talent? You shouldn't waste that talent on fighting guys like Brook and Khan. And he made Khan quit, and he knocked out Brook. Okay, so he's proven his dominance. But if these guys feel the same way, they feel the same way about each other. Bob's been there before. Bob should know, let another great fighter slip through your grass and let him go somewhere else so he can progress. Because at this point, it's just getting ridiculous. It's getting silly. You know, because the back and forth is getting childish. So if he didn't like the way Terence Crawford came out, he's going to do the same being down there 90 years old. I mean, that's ridiculous. Just release him from his contract or let him work something else out so he can do that quicker. Like Terence Crawford said, we don't have to wait for the Errol Spence fight. You don't have to wait for that fight to release me. Release me. And I think that's how it should go. You know, and Bob Arum doesn't want to hold the bag, but see, Bob Arum can only do limited things, obviously, because Terence Crawford wanted those fights. He wanted the Manny Pacquiao fight. And that fight's been brewing for the longest. And he also wanted the Errol Spence fight. So if he can't deliver those fights, Terence Crawford, if he only solely wants to focus on having those fights, Terence Crawford should leave Bob Arum so he can get those fights like people like Andy Ruiz did with Joshua, and of course Floyd Mayweather with Oscar De La Hoya. And that's my counterpunch on it, really. You know, and you know, Bob Arum's adamant on what he said. He's not apologizing. He's being a stubborn old man like old men are. And this is what we have. You guys tell me what you think about Bob Arum doubling down on what he said, you know, adamant and refusing to admit that he was wrong for any reason. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.